So today I'm going to show you how to do the last part of the twisted fringe for the Koigu linen stitch scarf. And this is the end that I've already completed, and you can see how pretty that twisted fringe looks when all those colors play together. So I'm going to go back to the other end of the scarf, and you will see all these little bundles of yarn that I had you knot off or clamp off while you were working. And now it's time to do the fringe. So I've undone the first clump of yarns of fringe. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a book down onto this scarf just to keep it from moving around. And there we go. So you're going to see that it's pretty loose right up around the edge. So I will pull on these yarns a little bit just to snug them up as I go, but you'll see that as I carry on. So I'm making a twisted fringe with 4 strands of yarn, and I'm going to take the first 4, and don't make yourself crazy if you're not sure what the first 4 are. Sometimes one row, it's hard to tell one row from another, so just grab the first 4-ish, and I'll just grab these 3. I got 4 of them, and I'm going to tighten them up a little bit so there's no slack, and then I'm going to just do an overhand knot just to snug up the stitches against the end of the scarf. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it like this. There. So there's the knot. Don't tie it really tight, and you don't have to jam it right up against the edge of the scarf, because when you block it, you want this scarf to be able to move a little bit, and that knot, you don't want that to get in the way. So there we are. There's my knot. Now I'm going to take these 4 yarns, divide them into 2, and let me just push this out of the way. I'm going to take 2 yarns and in one hand, and I'm going to start to twist them with my fingers to the right. And I'm going to keep twisting. You kind of can't see these ends right here, but I've got my finger right down at the very end. And I'm twisting until it starts to kink up. You see how it's kind of kinking up there? Now you're going to have to play with how tight you want this to be kinked up. That looks fine to me. If you do it too tight, your fringe is going to be really stiff, and you don't want it to have these little, pieces of spaghetti hanging off your scarf. You want the fringe to drape nicely, so don't make it too tight. Okay, so now I'm still holding these ends here, and now I'm going to take the other 2 and I'm going to twist them to the right. And you see how the colors are already starting to look cool. And you want to twist those until they get to about the equal tension as the other one. There you go. Now I'm going to get both of these ends and put them in one hand, and then I'm going to twist, don't let them go, twist everything to the left. And there is your fringe. Pretty awesome. And then twist that around as much as you want, and then tie an overhand knot at the end. And I tie it so the knot comes pretty close to the end of my yarns. And it's gonna kink up as you're tying too. Just don't worry about that. Just you be boss and make it work nicely. And there you go. So there's one. Okay. Now grab the next 4-ish there. See how this right here, this red is kind of loose. So I'm going to draw that up and bring this back for you. I'll make my knot at the base. Get out of rather have that a little closer to the top, but for right now, I'll just leave it. Okay, split these in two, and again, start twisting. 2 to the right, and then the other 2 to the right, I'm actually twisting both at the same time. What a talent. Now I'm going to hold the two ends together and twist them both to the left. This one looks awesome because you've got high contrast in colors. And there you go. And I'll tie my knot at the bottom. And there I am. Okay, so there's your first two. And as I look at these, this one doesn't look very tight now that I look at it. And I'm clearly not a professional YouTuber, so this could use a lot more twisting. So I'll just take that out and I'll twist it again. And that's going to be the way it is at first. You're going to either be too tight or too loose, or they're not going to be uniform. Don't worry about it too much. If they're close enough, you're never going to see it. The difference, unless it's huge, when you get all of your fringes twisted, all the fringes twisted. So the other thing I want to mention is we're working in groups of 4. So ideally, you want to have a multiple of 4 yarns all the way across, but that may or may not happen. So when you get to about this point here, 3/4 of the way through, count the yarns, and if you don't have a multiple of 4, you may have to twist one with 5, so 3 in one hand, 2 in another, or 3 and 3 in one hand. I did that here, over here somewhere, and I'll bet you can't tell which is the thicker one. Can I tell? So that's going to be something to take into account as well. And then the last thing I want to mention is they're never all going to be even at the end. I would resist the urge to trim them off as you make them. I would block it first. When you block it, I would pull out each one of these and stick a pin in the bottom of each knot, and that's going to hold the fringe straight and encourage it to hang straight. It's not going to be all kinky and wonky. And then, after you've done all that, then look at it or wear the scarf and decide whether you want to trim it. I don't like things to be perfectly even. I think it looks too unnatural. And here you'll notice this knot is way up here because I had one yarn that was shorter than the other, so I had to make my knot here. Whereas this yarn, the knot's down here. I don't care about that because generally when you look at it, they look roughly the same length. Not so much over here, but I haven't blocked mine yet. And over here I need to do some trimming. But what I want to say is don't make yourself crazy about it. Even wear it first, look at it, and then decide what you want to do. And that's it. Hope you enjoy it. It does take a long time to knit, but it's well worth the effort. Thank you for watching. Bye.